Well, hello, my name is Jim Royal. I'm a huge Beatles and Elvis Presley fan and basically classic rock in general. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you could do a thumbs up, that's always most appreciated. And feel free to leave comments. I always enjoy reading them and I do my best to try to respond in a timely manner. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a video called Beatles Finds of All Kinds. This is going to be number 6. This is where I look at different Beatle items, solo items, or Beatle related in some way. I'm going to focus on 5 today, okay? So the first one I'm going to look at is a single from VJ Records released here in the United States March of 1964, and it is called Do You Want to Know a Secret? As the A side, and the B side is Thank You Girl. Look at that picture sleeve. Doesn't that look nice? Here, I'll take this off so you can see it. It says rainbow label, but anyway. And there you go. So what's interesting about this is a Lennon original that George Harrison sung, and it got up to number 2 here in the States on Billboard, and then number 3 on Cashbox. So that tells me that this is a certified hit. And for some reason, it's not on any best ofs from them. I can't figure that out. So, long story short, with VJ, when Capitol Records, the sister company from EMI in the States, didn't want to take a chance on the Beatles here in America because they didn't think they would sell here, VJ, a Chicago-based company, picked them up, and they had the exclusive rights to Please Please Me, that album, you know, the material from that. So they were putting releases out in 63 and 64. All right, next item I'm going to show you is, this is an unauthorized EP, and it's called 4 by the Beatles, and these are BBC recordings. I don't know when this was released. It's hard to tell. It's making it look like it's actually British, like BBC Records, you know, from the BBC record radio. What happened was people in those days would re-record their songs that were on their own recordings, re-record them in BBC studios, and then they would be broadcast on air on the BBC. The Beatles did many of these, and they even had a radio show called Pop Go the Beatles, which is where these recordings apparently are from. What's interesting, I don't know, this is a Magical Mystery Tour era photo, so that's on there for some reason. And then here the Beatles are in concert. Pretty cool. Here, let's take that off too. Okay. And what you have is you have Carol. You have Soldier of Love. Soldier of Love is amazing. It's an Arthur Alexander song. Carol was Chuck Berry. And then you have Lend Me Your Comb and Clarabella. Lend Me Your Comb was a Carl Perkins B-side. And then Clarabella was Chuck Berry. No, not Chuck Berry. Little Richard. My mistake. So it's made to look like something, but I thought it was cool just because of the novelty. I've never seen anything like that. It was in my record store a long time, and finally I decided I'm going to pick this up. Now we have an official EP. An EP is an extended play. Instead of a single that has 2 songs, one on side A and one on the B, the second half, this has 2 on the first half and then 2 on the other normally. So this is called The Beatles Hits, and this was released September of 1963. It did get to number 1. This is UK, and it's released on the Parlophone label through EMI. And what's interesting about this, we had talked about this earlier, but this photo was actually a photo. It's by Angus McBean. But later this would appear on Introducing the Beatles, which is the first album that appeared here in America, January of 1964 by the Beatles in the United States. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? Look at that. Beatles Hits. And then here's the backside. Now, if I'm not mistaken, how you can tell this is probably an original is because it's not a top loader. It's from the time, so it comes out from the side here. and then it has this flap, this overlay flap here and there. Later releases wouldn't have that. Now what's on here? You have From Me to You, you have Thank You Girl, you have Please Please Me, and Love Me Do. Very nice, isn't it? Okay, and let's show you the 45. I love that look. Okay. So now let's go on to an unauthorized record. This is the Beatles Get Back with Don't Let Me Down and 9 other songs. So if Let It Be hadn't come out, the original idea when the Beatles did the Get Back sessions was to put out an album that, what if, would have looked like this. Now, the idea is doing it as nature intended, in their opinion, no studio trickery. So basically, just do live takes in the studio until you get it right. And there were many, many takes and many, many days. Now, in their defense, they were also creating the songs too. In many cases, they might have had a rough idea, but that's also the thing. So this photograph was an interesting photograph that if you look at the Please Please Me album, you'll notice it's taken by the same shot at the EMI building on the same balcony, and they're posed the same way. So here they are 6 years later doing it again, and it's rock and roll going back to the basics, get back, and that was the whole premise behind it. Here's how this particular unauthorized album, how the backside looks. And let me show you the vinyl. This is on Blackbird Records. Okay, and what's on here? Well, this was the way it was originally supposed to be. So this is referred to as the Martin mix, George Martin, but really it is Glenn Johns. So after they were done recording, I believe it was between March and May, Glenn Johns booked some studio time, I think at Olympia, and he put together this. The Beatles listened to it and rejected it. So you have One After 909 starts off the album, then you have Don't Let Me Down. Don't Let Me Down, in my opinion, should have been on Let It Be. It's an excellent tune. Instead it was the B-side to Get Back. You've got Dig a Pony. I believe this version has the unedited, All I Want Is You at the beginning, and when they're singing Dig a Pony. It has I've Got a Feeling, then it has Get Back. So the second half you have For You Blue, then you have Teddy Boy. Now Teddy Boy is a song that they did try out during these sessions. Later it would be scrapped and it would be put on Paul McCartney's first album called McCartney. And then you have On Our Way Home, which is really Two of Us, Dig It, Let It Be, and The Long and Winding Road. So pretty cool there. I had to pick it up because I saw this cover. All right, last item we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about a book. Okay, so Mark Lewison had a book called The Beatles Recording Sessions, and basically it documents the official Abbey Road studio session notes from 1962 to 1970. All right, it's a great book. I really like it a lot. Well, this book came out in 2006. That came out in '88. This was 2006, and it's called The Unreleased Beatles, Music and Film, by Richie Unterberger. So what this is a continuation sort of like that, but it focuses more on the unfinished songs, the unreleased songs, the unfinished, unissued takes. Not only that, but it also talks about in detail about the films that they were on, the TV appearances, the BBC recordings, and it's got the same format as Mark Lewison's book, which I really like. It looks very, very similar to the way that he did it. By the year at the top, and but what it goes into also, it talks about private tapes. So I'll give you an example. Let's look at page, let's see. Okay. So I'm looking at page 221, circa early December, private tapes, Kenwood. So these would have been recordings that John Lennon did in his private home on his own little tape recorder. So it has 2 takes of the song "Oh My Love." Okay, "Oh My Love," if you remember, is a song that would later be put on John Lennon's solo album called "Imagine." And in fact, George Harrison would play on that. So this is a nice acoustic song. Then you have a song called "The Case of the Blues," which is, completely unissued. Never heard it in official circles. I've heard it on bootlegs though, and it's a great tune for what it is. I just wish John would have, actually worked on it a little bit farther. But it's a nice little rocker. It's a good Lennon tune. Then you have "Everyone Had a Hard Year." So this was the bit that was later put into "I've Got a Feeling." And then you have "Don't Let Me Down," 2 takes of that. Really good book. Can't recommend it enough. So I wanted to just wish everybody that celebrates Christmas. Today is Christmas Eve here. I wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And thanks for watching my videos. Take care. Bye.